Okay, so here is the second part of our tutorial. So here I'll show you how to write some higher level functions that call upon lower level functions and simplifies a program. We can refactor our program with a reusable method that multiplies an integer by 12 as follows. So let's go ahead and delete what we have here. And let's go out of this method and create another method. So we'll do static. Don't worry about what the static means. I'll explain that to you in a further tutorial, but just copy as I do. So we have type int. It's going to have a return value of int. We'll call this feet to inches. And it'll have a parameter of type int, and we'll call our parameter feet. So we'll type int inches, we'll create a variable, and that will just be what you pass in times 12. And then we'll return the inches. So very simple method right here. So I like to add a lot of comments when you're first starting to learn, so you can look back at it and you can know exactly what is happening. So we create a method with a name of feet to inches. It returns an integer, and it has one parameter of type int with a name of feet. Great, so we have this method. A method just does something for you, more or less, in the most simplest terms. So it's like an action, more or less. And a method can receive input data from the caller by specifying parameters and output data back to the caller by specifying a return type. So we defined a method called feet to inches that has a parameter for inputting feet and a return type for outputting inches.
I'm hungry, Daddy.
So let's call our method right now. We'll call it and we'll put in that method and we'll pass in our argument. So it's a parameter. When you pass it in, we call it an argument. Not that confusing. Some people get really confused about that, but it's not. So this is feet right here. We're passing that in. We're calling it. We're passing in feet. So that would give you probably 360 because 30 times 12 is 360. And let's do it again just to give some different data. And let's call this one with 100. That should return 1200.
I want cheese.
So you can do Control Save. You can do Control F5.
I want some with that much. Daddy, can you give me some snack?
Yeah, 1 second, please. Hold on 1 second. Minor delay. Let's go ahead and add that console.read line too. Do that again. And as you can see, there is your output. So just to go over what we did, the literals 30 and 100 are the arguments passed to the feet to inches method. The main method in our example has an empty parenthesis because it has no parameters. Talking about this guy right here.
Daddy, I'm hungry.
Oh, I'll get you some. Hold on real quick. And it's void because it doesn't return any value to its caller, static void main. So C# recognizes a method called main as signaling the default entry point of execution. It's a very common interview question, by the way. The main method may optionally return an integer rather than void in order to return a value to the execution environment where a non-zero value typically indicates an error. The main method can also optionally accept an array of strings, as I just had. So that's what I just had in there. That means array, those little brackets, array of strings. But we don't need it for this example. So like I said, the main method can optionally accept an array of strings as a parameter. Basically, that will be populated with any arguments passed to the executable. So this is for the overly pedantic people, but an array such as string array, which we just had, I'll put it back in there. Caps lock is on. If only I could type. It represents a fixed number of elements of a particular type. Arrays are specified by placing square brackets after the element type, and I will go ahead and describe that further in our array tutorial once we get to that point. But methods are basically just one of several kinds of functions in C#. Another kind of function we use in our example program was the asterisk operator, which just stands for multiplication. There are also constructors, properties, events, indexers, and finalizers. In our example, the two methods are grouped into a class. A class groups function members and data members to form an object-oriented building block. The console class group members that handle command line input/output functionality, such as the write line method and the read line method. Our test class group tests two methods, the main method and the feet to inches method. A class is a kind of type, which we will examine further in a tutorial called Type Basics. At the outermost level of our program, types are organized into namespaces. The using directive, right there, was used to make the system namespace available to our application to use the console class. So that's really all you should care about for this tutorial. I hope that was of some benefit, and I'll continue to create more of these to help those of you that are learning to program with C# because it's a highly valuable skill today. Thank you very much.